Hey everyone, and welcome to RenaWells.com. I am super excited that you finally made it to this amazing webinar. So basically I'll give you a little bit of a rundown of what I'm all about and who I am so you don't get offended during the webinar, mainly because I tend to have a little bit of a potty mouth. I like to swear and I like to curse. So if you've got an issue with that, you may have to block your ears every now and then, but keep in mind I always do it from a space of pure good intention, just to get your butt moving, right? Okay, so I am Rena Wells from Living Internal Freedom Every Day. That's the motto that the universe gave to me years ago about living from the inside out, and that's something that I have followed for many, many years. And basically, you know, I've been living from that for many years, but I also came into a lot of stagnancy in my life in the last, I wouldn't say the last year or so, but I'd say the last, 10 years, I would say. I was in a really stagnant place, and, a lot of people that I work with have had the same issues. We are really spiritual, we are really connected, we are highly sensitive. You know what I'm talking about, right? You've got abilities, you feel energy, you know energy, and what's happening is that things in your life aren't showing up. So that's what we're going to get into and talk about today, and I'm going to show you 3 steps in what pulled me out of that stagnancy, and that has totally changed my life. And this is something that I coach others into, especially, highly sensitive people, because these are the main issues that we have. There's not a lot of teachings out there on the planet right now for empaths and healers and psychics and mediums. Because we work so much in energy, a lot of people don't really understand what's going on with energy. So that's why I'm here. So let's get started, okay? All right. Let's see if I can move to the next page here. So who are you? These are the types of people that I work with. You are super powerful, such a powerhouse. You are tapped into energy. You are a high achiever. And when I say high achiever, I don't necessarily mean that, you're the top of your class and valedictorian and, became some, neuroscientist or, I'm not talking about things like that. I mean a high achiever in yourself, about the authenticity in yourself and how you push yourself, and you're constantly in a high achieving place to become the best you. That's who I work with. And that you don't take less than, that there's always better. You're an optimist. There's always something around the corner. You know that there's contrast in life. You know that when things are crap, that it's just, there's something better coming. You don't know how, you just have that faith, right? You're also, really creative. You like to think outside the box. You're, either running your own spiritual business because you know that you want to be of service. You know that you want to be of service. If you haven't started that route, you've been going back and forth between it, but you know that you have a mission. That's the biggest thing. You know you have a mission to bring to the planet. You know that you want to serve in a huge way. You want to touch people. You want to heal the planet. You want to heal your life. You want to help heal others. And that's really who's attracted to me, because when you're in service and you're giving, I mean, damn, it's good. It's so good, right? And you know your worth, right? You know your worth. You know the manifesting capabilities on this planet. You know what the universe is capable of. You know how beautiful that energy is. And that's why I work with you guys, because you're so powerful. It's amazing. It's amazing. We get one-on-one, right? It's like really fast shifting stuff. Like, that's another thing is, when we don't have the support system around us, we don't have the support system in our friends and our families, and, we love them to death and whatever else. But when they don't quite understand you because of how empathic and intuitive and tapped into energy you are, it's kind of hard to explain, what you feel, what you see, and that deep inner wisdom and knowing that you have, that people just don't get you. And so when you don't have the support system on the outside, yeah, it's really difficult to get yourself out of that loop, right? Especially when you know your worth. So this is what happens to a lot of people that I work with. You're stuck in energy. You become in that stagnant place, right? Like, when you don't have the support in your outside world, you end up going looking for it in other places. You go to different workshops, you take different courses, you try to read more spiritual books, you try to do different practices. And it just doesn't cut it, does it? you know? And the reason why it doesn't cut it, you guys, is because, you know, you're at the top of the spiritual paradigm. And I'm not saying that from a place of ego. Like, you are at a place where you already know all this shit. You're so powerful, you already know this shit, right? You know deep inside how to do all of these things, and that something is just not right on the inside, right? Something is just not flowing through you. The energy is not flowing through you. It's not happening for you, and it's not manifesting on the outside. And then you get a glimpse, right? Then you get a breakthrough, and you're like, okay, I worked through something. Yay, this is amazing. I've worked through something. Something manifests. And then what happens? You go right back to where you were, and you're like, what was that? And so I'm going to explain all of that. You know, I'm going to try and do my best in the time that we have. It's a really different way of working in energy. So, I mean, you really don't get the gist of it in this one webinar. But, you know, I'm going to do my best to give you as much information as I can so you can start practicing right away. Okay? And so this whole loop and this whole stagnancy that happens, you know, you start losing faith. You go through, I got faith, I'm following, boom, you're back in your loop. You're back in the stagnant again, right? You have dis-ease, not disease, but a dis-ease in yourself. I did that with my kids for a long time, you know, like any little thing sometimes would just trigger the fuck out of me. And I'd be like, oh my God, you guys. And, you know, it was because I was so at dis-ease in myself and in my life and what I was doing and what I knew I was what I could powerfully do, you know, and people would use me for my abilities. I mean, that's another thing that, you know, I coach a lot of people in, a lot of people that are highly empathic and intuitive, because we're such giving people in such a place of service. Our environment takes advantage of us, you know. We're natural counselors. We're natural coaches. We guide people through the energy all the time, right? So, yeah, we're constantly doing that, but there's nobody doing that for us. Do you see what I mean? Like, there's nobody doing it for us. Like, do you see what I mean? There's nobody doing it for us. That was the hard part for me. Love the people around me, but, you know, I couldn't get the support that I needed. And I started to get really snappy with my kids, really snappy with, you know, people around me. I eventually just cut myself off from going out, from doing anything, because I just didn't resonate anymore. And that's not where I wanted to be either. I wanted to connect with people. I wanted to be of service, and I just didn't know how. And this is a loop that a lot of really highly sensitive people get caught up into, because you're not in your tribe. Like, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're not in your tribe. It's not the best place to be in, right? You get confused on your path. You get bored with life. You just end up thinking, like, is this it? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing with my life? Right? It's not a fun place to be. And you go back and forth. You have faith. You don't have faith. You become withdrawn. You start feeling lost. You lose confidence in yourself. Your spiritual calling, you know, gets you're not following it fully. You know that your spiritual calling. Sorry, I was going to say your clients as well. You know, are being affected with your service. Your business is suffering, and you go between depressed and being unhappy, and then you're happy, and then, you know, I mean, the thing that was the biggest problem for me was, you know, I started doing yoga, and I would go to yoga, and I feel amazing, and I would feel amazing. And then I'd get back into my manifesting, you know, and it'd be good for like maybe 3 days, right? Right? And I get into 3 days, and then it just wouldn't happen. Again, I would fall into the loop. So when I discovered these 3 techniques, it is really a message from the universe, right? That it came to me, and I had to jump out of bed and write it down, because that's how usually things really profound, when I'm not really listening and I'm trying to connect to my day and whatever else, but I'm not really listening. I need a profound message. That's when spirit comes to me, either shakes me out of my sleep at like 3 o'clock in the morning, or, you know, right before I'm about to fall asleep, or, you know, I just doze off. I get some message and I gotta write it down. And these were like the 3 steps were really about manifesting from the inside out, really deeply, not from the place that the universe, or sorry, that the spiritual practices are out in the spiritual market right now, about conscious mind thoughts, silencing the thoughts to create a visualization that you attach an emotion to that feeds into your unconscious. And the problem with that is because we're already in the unconscious. We're already feeling energy. Yeah, we do have thoughts, of course. We do have conscious thoughts that form emotions that are not for our highest good that we buy into. Yes, that's part of the loop, for sure, that you get depressed and stuck and stagnant. But a whole other part of it, that law of attraction and the secret and all of those things that they didn't touch on, are the mystics, people like you and me. They didn't talk about that. We feel tired and drained because our kids are tired and drained, and we're pulling that energy inside of us. They don't talk about that you're feeling bored or depressed in your everyday because, you know, you have a partner that's, you know, hasn't had a job in a year, and you're carrying everything, and, you know, you're fine maybe accepting that part of it, but you're feeling their depression and you're pulling that into your vibration. You go to work and, you know, you can feel the vibration from a coworker that sent an email to you. Didn't say anything in the email, didn't say that this person was unhappy, but you feel it because you know, right? Like these are the things that empaths and highly sensitive people have to deal with. And we soak in, we get into a place that we're so accustomed to just feeling it that we don't even, discern it anymore. We just accept it. We pull it into ourselves and we're like, yeah, I know that's not my shit, but whatever, but we're still feeling it. We're still feeling it. And so these 3 steps that came to me was about discerning energy and how to really work in the energy. And I started to see things metaphysically. Energy, and what's happened is that it looks like neural pathways and neurons in your brain. And so these are just a little bit of my teachings that I'm going to mention that can make sense right now, because I get really metaphysical. When you work with me, I get really metaphysical. So I can't go into everything. But they're like neural pathways and highways. And when you really go deep, you can actually trace the energy and where it actually comes from. And it's a great way to own your power inside of yourself. So we're gonna get into that a little bit more. So here's step 1. All right, guys? So we are going to talk about step 1. Step 1 is the void. Okay. What's the void? This is the first thing that the universe gave to me. Everybody has a void. Every single person on the planet has a void inside of them. And usually we avoid it. Or we fill it with things. And we think that we can fill it with all kinds of things, right? Lots of people think materialism, like a car and your house and your career, and you're feeling it. But I want you to just sit back for a minute and just look and close your eyes, right? Just close your eyes and take a couple deep breaths, okay? I'm going to do that with you right now. Okay. And I want you to go inside of yourself and look for the empty space that you feel inside of yourself. And usually it is always in the pit of your stomach. And we sometimes don't feel that pit of your stomach until something fearful comes up and you're like, oh, the dreaded feeling in your stomach. That void is God. Okay, we like to think of God as outside of ourselves, but what every teaching has ever taught us before is that God is inside of us. In every religion and every teaching, it is inside of us. The universe is within you. And this is the universe. Now, we also like to have a belief system. I'm going to break some belief systems here. That God is always light. Oh, for sure. And God is always, light. Creation is light. Okay? What happens before the light? What happened before the Big Bang? What happens before any creative idea actually comes into fruition? Right? There is a space before anything that has been created. Think about that. Feel that for a moment, okay? There's always a space before creation. And so when we see God, God is light because that is a form of creation. But there's a whole other side of it, that from the darkness and the nothing we came from. From the darkness and the nothing we became light. Okay? So that is pure creative energy. That space, that darkness, that void that is inside of you is pure creative energy. It is source. It is the full potential of anything that you can have. And that's where we manifest from. That's where I take you. Okay? While you're in this space and you're looking within the void, see if you can go inside of it and notice your feelings as you go inside of it. That's really the first step. That's something I really work hard with my clients on, is getting into the void. Because like I said, we can put anything into the void. Anything that you want. You can put a spiritual practice into the void. This is why you remain stagnant. This is why I remained stagnant for 10 damn years. 10 fucking years I remained stagnant going to yoga and doing all these different practices. Because you know why? I filled up the void, but the void doesn't want to be filled up. Yes, it clears the mind. Your spiritual practices and anything that you've been doing definitely clears your mind. It clears your mind and it brings peace, and that peace comes from the void. But it is simply a guidance technique to bring you into the void. We feel the peace and we're like, hey, I'm done. That was awesome. I feel great now. I cleared my shit from today, right? That email didn't piss me off anymore. I've let that go. I've surrendered that. Great. Great, you did the first step. But what you didn't do was go into the void after that. Universe wants you to go deep into the void inside of yourself. We just kind of open the door, go in, feel the peace, and then turn around and leave. Okay? Like, that's basically what we do. That's what keeps you stagnant. That's what keeps you in the loop. We want to be able to live from this pure, full, creative energy. I'm going to take a sip of water here. Excuse me. Okay. So that's the first step, is to get into that void. And this is another thing that the universe told me, that God told me, is we avoid the void, right? God wants you to create a void dance. The universe wants you to get into the void and dance around in there, because that's full creative energy. And the reason why we feel usually that pit in our stomach, when things aren't going right, it's God showing you that this is manifesting. It's a sign. It's trying to get your attention. Come into the void. Come into what is being created right now. I want to show you contrast, because I want you to come deeply in the void, and I want you to feel the crap that's coming up right now from the void, and I want to show you the contrast so that you can sit in the void in pure creative energy, and you can actually create something different from this place of yuckiness that you're feeling, and create the opposite, which is amazing desire and manifestation. We need the contrast to manifest. And when you feel that in the pit of your stomach, because that's the only way that most people can recognize this void inside of themselves, is when you feel that pit of your stomach and you get in there, and then you can do the opposite, and you're in the place of creation, bam, you manifest. So fast. So fast. Because you're loving it at the same time. I mean, people say when your dark comes up, bring light to it. Yeah, that works, but only for a little bit, because you're not living inside the void. You're not living in full potential creative energy that's deep inside of you, okay? So avoidance is to create a void dance. Create a void dance inside of the void, and God inside of yourself, and get deep into that void. That's the first step. That's the first step of ending the stagnant behavior. Because I'm going to tell you right now, like, that was the only thing that really helped me. And, I've been doing this work for a long time. I've been doing readings since I was 8 years old, and really started to do it as a profession on the side after, going to school and between work and all of that since I was 18 years old. So I'm 40 now. And so, yeah, this is something that is going to change how mystics and healers and highly empathic people feel, and how to manifest. And this is what's happening on the planet now, because everyone's using spiritual practices, but they're not getting inside the void. Everyone's got to keep going deeper inside of ourselves. That's the truth of everything that we know is truth, that every teaching has shown us it is inside of ourselves. Okay? So that's the first step. Great. We're in the void. What do we do now? What do we do, Rena? So this is, like I said, we don't have a lot of time to go through all of this, but this is what I work with, and this is who I teach. So, okay, so let's go to the next slide then, shall we? So when you're deep in the void, now it takes a little while. Most of my clients are really powerful. They can probably be in the void within a couple of weeks or so and really comfortable in it. Depends on where you're at. And it depends on how long you've been living in your loop and seeing contrast and how to manifest the contrast into the opposite of what you desire. Okay, so you're in the void. This is where you can actually have a really close relationship with God in the universe. This is where you can form such a strong relationship that you're able to see all of your creations from the void, because this is where you're working from, soul, pure potential creative energy now, right? And yeah, it can be scary sitting in the void because it is dark, but it's dark because it's space, right? Okay. So what happens is you start to see the energy ties, and I like to call them the energy highways. Okay? And in the energy highways, you can ride these energy highways throughout your meridian system. There's a meridian energy system that runs through our body. And when you're in the void, you can actually see all the energy ties, and you can actually, what I show you to do is actually how to ride them to see where it's coming from. Now, you can't ride every single energy tie. That will just drive you nuts. But when the stronger relationship that you form in the void with source energy, the source energy will actually show you the contrast that you need to look at to see where it's coming from. So then you can differentiate. You can actually differentiate if the tie is from the mind, okay? If the energy tie that is creating, you know, your resistance of getting a promotion at work, or, you know, let's just say something like that, and it's creating, you know, a sense of lack in you, you can follow that energy tie from the void, and you can actually see if it's from the mind, then great. You can use the law of attraction techniques that's been in The Secret, that's been in the world today, that people are doing from, you know, thoughts, change your thoughts, and to have affirmations and change your thoughts and feel better about it. Definitely. Those are things we still need, right? Those are great teachings. But for empaths and energy workers, we need to learn discernment to know which energy tie and which emotion is tied to something else, right? So when you're in the void place, it's such a beautiful place to be, right? And once you get used to staying in that place, you see everything that's happening. And you will see with source energy and metaphysically, you'll see it through your third eye, where the tie is taking you. So the first one is from the mind, obviously. You'll have to discern that. You'll say, okay, that's the discernment. I now recognize that. I can now use this technique, and I know that's going to work. The second one is when the energy tie goes outside of yourself. That's when it's your environment or somebody that's affecting you. We also know how to do that energetically as energy workers, and how to cut those ties and how not to take that on. So we can actually do that as well. Now, the third energy is something that's been self-created. And honestly, between what I see with my clients and myself as well, is that most of the ties are usually in the mind or things that we've self-created. It's very rarely something that we've held on from outside of ourselves. Now, the most that I've seen an energy tie going outside of ourselves is something of a family conditioning, or your parents, or somebody that's really close to you. But people that I work with have really healed a lot of that stuff. So it's very rare that I see that anymore. However, it still does come up for sure. And the third energy tie is, yeah, like I said, things that we've self-created. Now, what's so powerful is when you're in the void is that you can just burn that shit up. If you see a cycling energy that's running through your meridian system that you don't need, it's actually, what happens is it's running through the meridian system, through your body, the energy, and it's actually creating a lot of dis-ease in your body. You can actually, while you're in the void, because you're so powerful in that place, it's just blasted out of you. I show you how to do that. And it doesn't really blast out of you, but you can actually discontinue that because you're the creator of your life, right? So that's the second step, is energy discernment, knowing where your energy is coming from while you're sitting in the place of the void. And it's really powerful. Now, you can do this in your mind if you want to. It doesn't work the same way. It does not work the same way. You got to get into the void. When you get into the void, it is such a powerful place to be because it is manifestation energy that happens so fast. And that's why law of attraction works, right? Because we intellectualize it, we create a vision, and we use our imagination to push that vision out, we feel it, and the feeling goes into our subconscious, which actually goes into the pit of your stomach, which is your subconscious, which is the void. And yes, that's asking God for what you want, and that's how it's manifested. But when you're actually sitting in that place of manifestation, now you think about that. You're going right to source. You're right in there, clearing up all your shit, doing what you got to do, and manifesting right from that place. And because you're already highly empathic and you can feel the void like that, things go really fast and really, really big, okay? So those were the 3 steps. Oh, sorry, this is the 3rd step. What am I saying? The 3rd step now, I think I got ahead of myself. The 3rd step is to manifest. Now that you've discerned your energy, you now can realize how you're going to manifest. And when you're manifesting from the void, I teach that as well. You know, I'm not going to have enough time to get into that, but it's a super powerful place to manifest from the inside out, from the void and manifesting outwards, and how you actually push that energy up through the void, through your 3rd eye. Super powerful stuff, working with your meridian system, working to own your power on the inside. Whew! Wow, it's really powerful stuff. And you know what? Now you know that you can, you know, manifest the old way by stopping your thoughts, right? And doing a better affirmation, doing it the old school way. If you need that, you can do it from the inside out now, from your void, by owning your power and owning your energy, like totally. And what does this do? You'll never be stagnant again. I promise you that. You will not be stagnant again, because you know what? You're not putting spiritual practices into your void anymore. You're actually living from the void, right? You're living from creation, right? You're not, you're stepping deep into it, right? Because I'm gonna say that again. Like when you go and do a practice, it brings you in peace. It clears your mind and it opens the doorway to the void. But we sit there in the peace, but we can't maintain it because you're not willing to go deeper into the void, recognizing the void, forming a relationship with the void. That's really where magic starts to happen, okay? So basically, oh my goodness, my alarm went off here. Oh my goodness, I think we might be almost getting out of time. I didn't want to overload you guys with a lot of information. That was my alarm going off. So we're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon. But I didn't want to go into so much information. I was thinking of like even doing like a meditation and doing that with you guys. But there's so much to teach, and this is, you know, I wanted to give you a bit of a feel of what this is about and how this works. Now, this took my life from stagnancy within, I'm going to say I turned my life around in like 3 months. Totally in 3 months. Changed my life. Totally changed my life. From, you know, thinking that I wanted to go back to corporate world and work like that into actually being of service, and changed my life. This is teachings that are really just for the empathic and the psychics and the intuitives out there and the healers out there to work right from source energy. This will merge the gap. This will help you to manifest in a really big way. This is just going to change everything. And what happens? You become empowered. You become empowered. Your discrepancy is gone. Like your discrepancy is totally gone now, right? Because you've bridged the gap. You're actually in manifesting mode in a really great way. You have, you know, peace and joy. You're working from a place of omnipresence. That's a whole other thing. When you get into the void, you're going right into God's source. You're going right into manifestation mode. You're actually going into the nothing. Right? You actually become dimensionally merged. I see this a lot with my clients too, is like all of a sudden, everything just comes together and you merge past lives, other dimensions, everything comes into one place because you are now having a higher perspective of your life. Your relationships improve. You intuitively, things change too. You see so much more clear too, and you see in a very different way. And you see the metaphysical realm so clearly. So it's really exciting what happens when you work with me and when you get into the void. And yeah, that's it really is. That's really what what I wanted to share with you guys today, and those 3 steps of manifesting. So the first step, again, as a recap, is, get into the void. Whenever you go, and I use yoga as a great example because that's what I do, but whatever spiritual practice you do, and you're doing your yoga and you're getting into your peaceful place, take that opportunity. Get deep in your void. Get deep inside of there. Number 2, learn to see the energy highways that are happening, and start to have discernment. So own your power on the inside. That's the biggest thing that we highly sensitive people have an issue with, is owning our problems deep on the inside, And the third one is to manifest. Manifest out your ass. Just manifest out your ass. It happens so quickly and it happens so authentically. It's a beautiful thing. And this is what I really came here to do. And this is where I love being of service, because I work with people like you, the powerful, the highly intuitive, the highly sensitive, that are really ready for this kind of life transformation. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you guys an offer. This is what I coach people into, is this type of empowerment. And, I've lived it myself. I've totally lived it myself. So, get out of your pain. There's no reason that you have to do this yourself. There's no reason that you have to continue being in the loop all the time. And and like I said before, we all need that support. There's no way that you can do this without that support on the outside, especially when you're highly powerful. I've tried it, and highly powerful people have a really hard time asking for help. I hired my own coach, and I'm like, I'm still having issues asking you. She's like, fuck off, Rena, email me. And I'm like, okay. Fine. I had to come to a place of really being vulnerable and open. And that's, excuse me, that's when it becomes so beautiful. When you can do those things for yourself. And you can, really are ready to take that big leap. So if you're ready to take that huge leap, because this takes faith, right? If you want changes in your life and you're ready and you're done being in stagnant energy, you're done with the old stale energy, and you're ready to take your business up to the next level, and you're ready to really own that damn power, like that damn power that's so powerful inside of you, because you know your abilities, then there is a button down here at the bottom of the webinar. Book a paradigm session for me. It's totally free. We can sit down and see if we work good together. And I'm going to warn you now, they're highly shifting. That's why I call it a paradigm shift session. And they are highly shifting because I take you out of where you are right now and I put you into your power. And I want you to be able to see that and feel that. I'm sure you felt that throughout here. And start working with the void. Start using these 3 amazing steps to get into your void and create a force and own a lot of your empathic abilities. It really is a gift. It's not a curse. Our abilities are a gift. And I'm totally here to help you. So yeah, book a paradigm session and we can start now to transform your life. I hope you guys enjoyed that webinar. It was absolutely a great thrill to be here with you guys. Again, I've gone over because I had my alarm set. You probably heard that. So yeah, I'm going to get going. I hope you enjoyed that. And again, book a paradigm session down below. Let's have a free chat about it. Let's talk about what's going on with you. And I would love to be in service to you. Okay, namaste, everybody. Take care. Bye.